Rulli on saving De Geas penalty ahead of Villarreal vs Man United. Ahead of tonight's reunion with David De Gea, Villarreal goalkeeper Geronimo Rulli only has one regret about his penalty save which settled the Europa League final against Manchester United. He wishes it had been against an outfield player. First, Rulli scored past De Gea to put Villarreal 11-10 up in that extraordinary sudden death shootout in Gdansk last May. Then he saved his opposite number's kick to win the final. It must be a goalkeeper's union thing, but he really doesn't like that particular detail of the story. I would have preferred for the shootout to end before and for me to stop any of the kicks instead of the keepers, he says. We do the same job, and it's a thankless one sometimes. I know how a goalkeeper suffers, so I would have preferred to stop a kick from an outfield player. Of his own successful penalty he recalls, not even realizing it was his turn. I remember the previous penalty from Victor Lindelof, and I was upset because I'd got a touch to it without stopping it. I had lost count with so many penalties taken, and when I was walking away from the goal the referee said to me, "Keeper, it's your turn to take." At first I did a double take, me? Are you sure no one has been missed out? Then from the moment I took the ball all I was thinking about was hitting the back of the net. I'd never practiced taking a penalty myself beyond messing around and training with a teammate. It was a case of hit it hard and try to get it high. Hard and high, exactly what us goalkeepers don't like. I hit it with all that I had left, my heart and soul. And luckily it went in. He is still surprised at how calm he was ahead of the kick. I can't believe how I wasn't really conscious of the responsibility I had because all of my teammates had scored. They had done their job and I had not been able to save a single kick. I never thought about the fact that I was playing in a final and against Manchester United and with De Gea up against me. I just thought, don't screw it up, put it in. After scoring he still had to finish the job and save from De Gea. When it comes to David's kick, I had no idea where he was going to put it, but the way he approached the ball and the last step of his run-up made me think that it was impossible for him to hit it really hard, Rulli says, describing the milliseconds that changed his club's history, giving them their first ever trophy and leaving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still without his as Manchester United manager. To hear the 29-year-old retell the events of the night, gloves thrown to the crowd at the end, the highly charged Unai Emery telling his team to face the final like a band of brothers is to be reminded of what it meant to the club from the town of 50,000 inhabitants who had never played European football before 2003. It put them in the Champions League for one thing, and the group draw has put them in with a United side now boosted by the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo, who Rulli knows all about from previous La Liga meetings between Real Sociedad and Real Madrid. I think he scored a hat-trick against me, he says. And there was another game when he took 2 penalties against me, scoring one and missing the other. It is going to be the first Champions League game back at Old Trafford for him, and they have signed Rafael Varane and Jadon Sancho too. But we will play our game and we feel that we can take on anyone. We showed that against Chelsea in the Super Cup final. As well as meaning a lot to Villarreal, the Europa League win also changed things for Rulli, brought to Europe from Argentine club Estudiantes by an investment group in 2014, partially owned by Manchester City, who he never played for, and moving to Real Sociedad, where his career began to stall after a drop in form. After one error that cost his team points, he admitted that his wife Rocio Esposito cried all night as the criticism of him began to affect his loved ones. And he sought help from people who, he says, had nothing to do with the world of football to help him deal with things mentally. It's fitting that his wife should be in Gdansk to witness her husband enjoy his finest hour. In a stadium with a significantly restricted attendance because of COVID restrictions, could he even hear her shouts? She couldn't even bear to look, Rulli laughs. She had been teasing me for years, when am I going to save a penalty, and when am I going to score a goal? Now she can have no complaints. Pandemic restrictions had meant his family in Argentina could not travel to Poland for the game, but he was not alone. And that was even more true after his save from De Gea, when he was mobbed by teammates and club staff. I turn around and there are about 60 of them charging towards me to hug me, he says. And back in goalkeepers union mode, he adds, that's one good thing about our position. When your teammates depend solely on you, the satisfaction when you deliver is huge.